All right, how many times have you thought, I just need better people? I just need better people around here. That's what I need. I can't keep working with this inferior talent. And maybe you've said it out loud. Maybe it was just a thought in your head at like 10 p.m. after a long, tough day. Maybe it crossed your mind in the middle of a meeting that should have been an email. But either way, it's one of the most common thoughts that I hear from business owners and all types, all industries. And I totally get it. I see it over and over again. I feel the pain. I've experienced the pain at different times in my own career. It's not that your team isn't performing the way you need them to. The most logical conclusion in the world is that the team's the problem. But I want to propose to you that that's not really the problem. Here's what I've found over and over again, working with business owners. In most cases, it's not the people, it's the system. It's the system. And it's actually really good news because you don't have to set the apple cart and fire everybody. Systems, you can build those. Systems, you can fix those. Actually, you can build the people too. And when you do both, that's when the magic happens. And here's how this actually plays out in real life. You built the business, you brought in good, capable, smart, motivated people. You gave them titles, you gave them compensation. You said, all right, here's what I need from you. Like, this is the deal. This is kind of what I expect. And then it didn't quite happen or didn't happen as quickly as you wanted or the way you wanted. So you did what felt natural. You got more involved, rolled up your sleeves, took responsibility, got back into it, say, well, I'm the one who knows everything. You started to check in more. You started to make decisions that were supposed to be their decisions. And at some point, without realizing it, you built a team that waits for you, to do everything, that brings everything back to you, that checks in with you before they do anything. A team that performs when you are in the room and slips and stalls when you're not. And then you look at that team and you think, wrong people, they're killing me. What have I done here? What's wrong with these people? But what if I told you they might actually be the right people? We might be able to get them to be the right people. Again, they just might be in a broken system. There's a difference between a people problem and a leadership infrastructure problem. And most owners, really smart and successful owners, confuse those two things. It gets hard to differentiate the forest from the trees. Not because you're not paying attention, not because you never knew to look for this, but a people problem is rare. A system problem is the most common. And once you've learned to tell the difference, it becomes easier. It becomes easier to fix. Hey, quick pause here, because if you're already nodding along going, maybe this is me. Yeah, this relates. I don't want you just to watch one quick video and walk away. I can take this concept a little bit further. There's a link in the description that goes deeper into why we need execution systems, structures, and skill set pathways so that we're building execution and elevating our key people. And if you want to talk with me about it, specifically about your unique circumstances, there's a link for that too. So click one of those links in the description and you can come back to this later. I want to show you something because this isn't just a business thing. This is a pattern and it shapes all spheres of society. It shapes performance. Think about how many times you've seen this in sports. A quarterback, a talented, experienced, successful in college, but then they got to the NFL, they didn't do well. And they get traded. That same player goes to a new system, new coaching, new culture. Suddenly they're elite. Suddenly they're winning, like a Sam Darnold kind of situation. And the whole sports world says, wow, new team really got the best out of him, out of Sam Darnold, out of whatever, name your sport. But no one asks a better question. What was broken about the first system? The last place he was, what wasn't working? The player didn't change. The environment changed. Maybe that unlocked something for the player, but it was the environment that unlocked it. It was the systems. It was the culture. It was that stuff that really unleashed the player's potential. In 1968, a psychologist named Robert Rosenthal did a study in an elementary school, and he told teachers that certain students in their classrooms were late bloomers. The tests had identified these kids as being on the verge of a major intellectual leap. And the teachers treated those kids differently. They were looking for proof of it, more encouragement, more patience, more belief, wanting to give them the benefit of the doubt, helping to nudge them to this leap, to this breakthrough. And by the end of the year, those students had dramatically outperformed their peers. And here's what makes this study so wild. Those kids were randomly selected. There was no test. They weren't actually late bloomers. They weren't actually like special or differentiated in a particular way. They were just kids who got a different system. They got a different expectation, a different belief, a different level of investment. The system created that outcome. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because the teachers believed it, they acted accordingly. And those particular students that they were investing in more, they elevated to the next level. Now, Toyota built one of the most successful manufacturing operations in the history of the world around a single principle. When something goes wrong, don't blame the person. Trace it back to the system. That's it. Don't blame the person. Trace it back to the system. They called it the 5 whys. You ask why 5 times, and you almost always end up at a process failure, not just a people failure. They didn't build great cars by finding perfect people. They built great cars by building a system that made ordinary people more extraordinary. A quarterback, a classroom, a car factory, 3 completely different worlds, one universal truth. People perform to the level of the system they are in. That's the hard truth. That's the reality. And most of the time, when people are underperforming, it's the system that needs fixing, not just the people. So here's the question that I want you to sit with for a few minutes here. Is your team really underperforming? Or has your system not given them a real shot at high performance? Okay, so how do you actually know if you've got a system problem instead of a people problem? Here are 3 signs. Tell me how many of these sound familiar. One sign is that your top performer couldn't easily train their replacement. So if your top performer can't easily replicate themselves into somebody else, that's an issue. If the knowledge, the standards, the know-how all live in their heads and it's not documented, it's not systemized, you don't have a leadership layer. You have dependency on singularity, on singular points of failure. And when that person leaves or gets sick or goes or the role changes, then things fall apart. That's not a people problem. That's a system that was never built properly. Sign number 2, performance improves when you're in the room and it slips when you're not. And when you take time away or when you're traveling or when you're on vacation, things fall off, things stall out. This one stings a little bit, but if it's your presence that powers the team, it's not real leadership, it's supervision. And a business that only runs when you're watching, when you're present, that's not a business you can ever step away from. That's not a business of multiplication. It's a business of dependency on you. It's not a people problem. It's a you problem. It's a you at the center of this whole thing problem, but it can be fixed. Sign number 3, you've had the same performance conversation more than once. You addressed it, they improved briefly, and then they fell back. They drifted back. Why? The systems, the processes. You think, why can't they just be more consistent? Here's why. Consistency doesn't come from willpower or just desire. It comes from the structure that they're operating in. If there's no rhythm, no clear metric, no regular check-ins, no scorecard, no standards, the drift is inevitable. It just happens. It's inertia. Same conversation, same drift, same frustration. It's your system that's missing an accountability loop, not a character flaw in your team. If 2 or 3 of those hit home, you're not dealing with a people problem. You're dealing with an infrastructure gap, a leadership infrastructure gap, an issue. And here's the really important part. That gap is completely fixable. You can shore that up. So what do you actually do about it? Here's a few moves. These are not complicated. They're just intentional. And most owners haven't done them intentionally or explicitly or consistently. Move 1, shift the question. So before you ever conclude, wrong person, ask a different question first. Did I give this person everything that they needed to succeed? Did I give this person everything they needed to succeed? Clear expectations, real authority, feedback that was consistent, not just reactive. development that was intentional? If the answer is no, then start there. You might be surprised what happens to the wrong person when they're finally set up the right way. Move 2, make the standard explicit, crystal clear. Most performance issues trace back to ambiguity. I thought I was doing my job. I thought this is what you wanted me to do. I thought you wanted me to check back with everything. I thought you wanted to know every little step of the way. It's what I have learned that you want. Here's the hard truth. If you never wrote it down, you can't hold someone accountable to it. If you didn't make it crystal clear, how do you expect them to do it consistently? You got to define what excellence, what winning looks like in every role. Not a vague job description that no one looks at again, but clarity about what you need from each seat, each role. What does it look like? What do you want on a week-to-week basis? What measurables, what standards are you shooting for? What are they going to be accountable for? Crystal clear, black and white. Move 3, build accountability in, don't bolt it on. Accountability that only happens when things break down, when you're frustrated, when you're angry, when you're panicking, when you're in crisis management. That's not real accountability. Build in a rhythm, a weekly check-in, a simple scorecard, a structure that surfaces the problems and helps you solve them efficiently. When accountability becomes a cadence that people can count on instead of just a confrontation when things aren't going right, that's the good stuff. That's when change happens. And I've watched owners make these 3 shifts and it moves the culture. It elevates their leaders. It elevates performance without changing a single person on the roster. It helps them get to the next level. Same people, better system, better results. Just like the quarterback who shifted to the new team, just like those kids in the classroom who were told they had potential, just like Toyota. I want to leave you with one challenge before you close this, before you move on. The next time you feel that pull, I need better people. I'm so tired of these people. Pause for just a second and ask yourself one question. Did I build the system that could make them great? Did I build the system that could make them great? Not, why did I hire them? Did I pay them enough? Did I give them a job title? Did I build the system that supports them being great? Because here's what I know about you. You're a builder. You build a business from scratch. You scaled it, or you're in the middle of doing so right now. And that fact is that you care enough to keep getting better. You want to push the envelope and you care enough about your people to help them keep getting better. So you don't have to fire everybody every leap you take. Build the leaders, develop the infrastructure that makes them exceptional, because it's not just a people problem. Probably 4 times out of 5, it's a system waiting to be built or refined. And you're really good at building things. You can do this. If you're ready to do that, here's what I want you to do right now. In the description, there are 2 links. One is just to book a call with me or a member of my team. We'll get on the phone. We'll talk about your specific situation, your specific people, and I'll tell you exactly what I think the missing link is. How do we go about it? What do we do? It's not just a pitch. It's an honest look at where you are and what you want and where it's going from here. Or you can start, there's a video, you can watch another video that moves you in this direction and breaks down more of the barriers and more of the steps to get where you want, to build an infrastructure with execution on the one hand and elevation of your key people on the other hand. Both of those links are in the description. I hope to be able to meet you in person or have a conversation with you. And if this video in particular landed, share it with somebody else. Any business owner that you thought or that you think is wrestling or frustrated with their people, send it to them. It might just save them from making a very expensive mistake. And I'll see you in the next video.